you are wonderful. Look how you do everything for this baby. You know, you would make a wonderful mother.
Angela, what about you? You dash home from the office, spend a minute with the kid, make a mess. You'd be a great father.
I miss having a baby around.
Yeah, it's kind of fun having somebody to do my housework with. Hey, Angela, you ever think about having another one?
A baby? Oh, I'd love to. But how?
I'll tell you later. Not in front of the kid.
Hello. Welcome to AOA, the Who's the Boss podcast. I'm Tori.
Mine's better.
Yeah, it is better. I'm Tori.
I'm Kevin.
And we are here to rewatch and discuss every single episode of Who's the Boss.
That was me. Sorry. I'm sorry.
I don't have any news. Blah, blah, blah. Although, we want to, as soon as we're done recording this episode tonight, we have one more episode to watch of Manhunt Deadly Games.
Oh, yeah.
Which is on Netflix. So if you missed it when it was originally on Spectrum, and then you missed it when it aired on CBS, don't miss it now. It's on Netflix. And it's based on the true story of Richard Jewell, who was originally the main suspect in the Atlanta Olympic bombing. And Judith Light plays his mother. And it's a really good little mini-series. We're enjoying it. And Judith, of course, does an excellent job.
Yeah, she does. And it's the last episode.
Yes, we have one more to watch tonight. I'm excited. Yeah, like if you didn't know Who's the Boss that well and you didn't keep up on what the actors are doing today, and that's like the first time you saw Judith Light, you'd be like, wow, that's the mom from Who's the Boss.
You may not even recognize her.
Yeah, I know. But I remember having that thought when we first saw her on Transparent.
Yeah.
And then I realized that they were like aging her up or just making her look different for Transparent, and saw her in like actual photographs. So, oh no. Okay. So tonight we are going to cover Season 2, Episode 23. It is called There's No Business Like Shoe Business. It first aired on April 1st, 1986. April Fools. And the TV Guide summary says, Counselor Mona advises a factory worker to follow his dreams, so he leaves his family and heads for Hollywood.
It's ridiculous. Is he really a factory worker?
I don't think so.
No, I thought he was a shoe designer.
Right, yeah. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, terrible description.
Yeah. Okay, so when this episode opens, Angela's coming in through the front door. Hello, family, I'm home.
Yeah.
My desk just hit something. And there's a man sitting on her couch. And she's like, hello, I'm Angela Bauer. And he says, I'm Norman Bevins. And this actor is Paul Lieber. I recognize him from an episode of The X-Files. He's in Hollywood AD, and he played Micah Hoffman.
Okay, and you actually do recognize him?
Well, once I looked him up, I actually thought when I found out he was on The X-Files, I actually thought he was a different character in a different episode. And then when I looked up his name, when I looked up the name of the character he played, then I remembered who he is. So I think you've watched Hollywood AD with me, because it's a really cute X-Files episode. And yeah, he plays a character named Micah Hoffman.
But I don't remember him in anything else. I mean, he was in Curb Your Enthusiasm, right? Yeah,
Curb Your Enthusiasm and a couple episodes of Alias, which you've never watched, I don't think.
No.
Yeah, he was in Curb Your Enthusiasm, but it was like, I don't even think he had a name in the IMDb credit.
It was probably a small...
Yeah.
Probably got in a fight with Larry David.
Yelled at him in line at the yogurt store or something.
Right, exactly.
So Angela's like, I live here. He says, I don't. And he explains, I know Mona. And she's like, oh yeah, doesn't everybody? So Angela's dress here looks like she's going to church on Easter Sunday.
I know. What is that?
It's a very odd dress to be coming home from work in. But I guess that was like just like a business dress. But yes, it's like very summery, spring, Easter Sunday. I imagine her having a large hat that goes with it.
I know. It does look like that kind of dress.
So he says to her, pardon me, but do you find those shoes restrictive? And she's like, oh, no, not these. Like, these are really comfortable, but I do have a pair of red pumps. And then she's like, wait a minute, why am I talking to you about this? And she notices at this point that he's not wearing shoes.
I know, which they don't ever really explain.
Well, no, they kind of. She goes into the kitchen because she's like, now I need to find if there's anyone else here.
Oh, was he wearing those heels? I don't know.
No.
I guess
why was he wearing no shoes at all?
Right.
I think he's just odd. He's so discontent with his life that the shoes on his feet feel restrictive.
I thought it had something to do with being a shoe guy, making shoes.
Well, that's the thing. He doesn't like shoes anymore. So he wants to take off his shoes and leave his life behind. Yeah, I'm just making this up because I have no idea.
Yeah, why is he barefoot?
Because it's just ridiculous that there's a man in our living room without shoes on.
That she doesn't know.
So, yeah, and that she might be a little nervous now. Like, maybe I should go see if anybody else is home. So she goes into the kitchen, and Tony and Mona are in there. And she says, why is there a man in my living room not wearing any shoes? And Tony says, because the kitchen floor was too cold for him.
Right. Hey, yo.
So Mona explains that this is Norman. He is the #1 designer of shoes at Hadley's. So yes, he's not technically a factory worker because he would have been a designer.
That's not a factory worker.
Yeah. I mean, he works at the location of a factory, but probably upstairs in an office or some sort of drawing room. So, and she says that he's lost his enthusiasm. And Angela says he's also lost his shoes.
I know.
So Mona's trying to help him because he's the toughest case of her career. It's a very short career. She just started this 6 weeks ago.
Toughest case.
And Angela's like, you can handle this. You're the best personnel director that Hadley's ever had. Mona's like, I'm also the only one, but thank you. So she says that everyone had been looking forward to Norman's new line of shoe, and then he came up with this. And she holds up a pair of Converse high heel sneakers.
Oh, that's so ridiculous.
Yes, but if our youngest child could have a pair of Converse sneakers that were high heeled, she'd be all over them. So there could have been a market out there for these
really
shoes.
Could have been.
Yeah, I think they I don't know. I mean, they gave up too quickly on this design. So Tony says if Tina Turner goes out for the Knicks, you've got the shoe.
All right. Miss Tina Turner was pretty known for her high heels.
Yes, absolutely. And so Tony says this is a classic case of repressed creativity. And Angela's like, how do you know that? He says, because Mona told me. And Mona explains that they were in the middle of a therapy session when the factory closed. So she brought him home because she didn't want to send him home so depressed. Send him to his own home.
So ridiculous.
So Angela suggests that maybe he should talk to someone who's outside of the shoe business, who's successful, who's happy, who's leading a well-balanced, full life. And Mona says, that's a great idea. Come on, Tony.
I know. She thinks she's going to have Angela go in there.
Right. So they go back out into the living room, and Norman is playing with his toes in the living room, and it's really disgusting. Why? But Tony...
I know, it is disgusting. I had that in my notes, too.
Tony makes a
joke. On the
joke.
coffee table, mind you.
Yeah. This is the second time they've come into the living room and found somebody doing something odd on their coffee table. Remember the cat lady when she was batting back a piece of paper back and forth? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Right. Like a real cat.
Right. So Norman's there playing with his toes, and Tony says, the little one goes to market.
Yeah, it was funny.
And so Mona introduces him to Angela and Tony and says, we thought maybe we would have a little chat here. And Norman says, I'm sick of designing sensible shoes, shorter heels, thicker soles. It's the bland leading the bland. Now, again, I feel like this guy is doing a similar character to the characters we've seen before in WALL-E. And then, was there someone else that was similar to this? Like that Gene Wilder kind of...
Yeah.
Dudley Moore-esque character. It's very odd. Norman just wants to add some meaning to his life. And
Poor Norman.
They're trying to explain to him, well, what you do is very important. You provide a wonderful service for humanity. Without
shoes.
Yes. Tony says, without shoes, how would you cover up the holes in your socks? And Norman's response is, shoes don't make holes, people do.
I know, it's kind of ridiculous. And it's ridiculous Tony said that.
I know.
Didn't get some new socks, Tony. It's not what shoes are for.
So Mona's trying to get him to see the other side. And she's like, well, look at Tony. You know, all he does all day long is scrub and vacuum and wash and iron and fold and sweep. But in his spare time, he also coaches Little League, and he's the president of the PTA. And Norman's not impressed with this at all. He says, I would never want to coach Little League or be the president of anything unless it's Uganda.
Which makes no sense.
I know. Why Uganda?
I like that they brought up the fact that Tony's still the president of the PTA. They keep that going.
Yes,
that's
that is
a good
continuity.
Continuity.
And Norman's like, call me crazy. And Angela's look is like, yes, I would call you crazy.
Right. She's already done.
But Mona's like, no. In my profession, we have much longer words for it. So she just wants him to open his eyes and to see the great, wonderful, beautiful world that's out there. And they ask him, well, do you have any other interests that you can do, and still go to work? And he really doesn't, except he has one secret fantasy. And Angela's a little nervous. She's like, it doesn't have anything to do with high heel sneakers.
It's like, what? Gotta figure out where Norman's going with this.
So he says no, and he's like, okay, hang on. And he makes this really pained face as he's looking off in the distance. And they don't really know what's going on, so they start looking, and it looks like they're looking right at the camera.
I know, which is awesome.
Which is funny. And he says, don't you see it? And they don't see it. And he's like, no, here. And
he points at his face.
Yeah, my resemblance to Clint Eastwood. So Tony's like, well, which movie? And he says all of them. And ever since he saw Dirty Harry blow someone away, he's dreamed of being a serious actor. So now Mona's like, okay, well, we can work with this. There's Fairfield Community Theater. They're always looking for new talent. They suggest in the spring they're going to do Death of a Salesman. In the summer, they're going to do Barefoot in the Park. And Tony says, you're a shoo-in.
Yeah, shoe-in, barefoot in the park.
So now Norman's getting excited, and he's very thankful for them. Angela hands him his socks that she finds on the floor. And he's saying, thank you, and he leaves.
Yeah, he leaves not putting his shoes back on.
No.
Just walks right out the door.
I know. Maybe it's not very cold out. Mona's little wave goodbye, too, is very funny. And as he leaves, he makes that Clint Eastwood face again. And he says, you've made my day.
Well, yeah, because that's Clint Eastwood's things.
Right.
Make my day.
Well, yeah, and it was go ahead, make my day.
Go
right?
ahead, make my day. But he's saying you made my day. Right. Oh, sorry. And then Tony calls him Dirty Norman.
Yeah.
Stupid.
So now we cut to another storyline that really doesn't make any sense for this episode.
It goes nowhere.
But again, it's sort of just like we need the kids to do something, and there's really no way that they can, we can interweave a storyline with them into the other storylines. So Jonathan is practicing how to tango for the dance team at school. And he's apparently paid Samantha to teach him because she knows how to tango.
Well, I don't know why she knows how to tango, but she does.
So they're watching the kids dance, and Angela says he's going to be the best dancer at the whole school dance club. And Tony says that's because my daughter is teaching him all my moves. And then he pinches Jonathan's cheeks, which is really cute. Mm-hmm. So Jonathan wants to go again, and Sam's like, well, you sure you can afford it? You're already in the hole for $1.50. And he's like, what? I thought it was $1. And she says dips were extra. Yeah. But we all know Jonathan's got deep pockets.
I know.
I mean, come on.
I know, but that's why he has deep pockets.
True. And so he says, Jenny Whitner dips for $0.10. And Samantha says, so I've heard.
I know. Another adult joke.
I know. We're going to meet Jenny Whitner, or we've met her, but we're going to see her again at the end of this season.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Tony and Angela are a little annoyed that either of them just made that joke. And the doorbell rings. Angela goes to get the door, and there's a woman standing there holding a baby. She looks straight at Tony and says, "This is all your fault."
I know. And meanwhile, she's holding a baby.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you say that?
I did say she was holding a baby.
I missed that. Yeah. Sorry.
This baby is the cutest baby ever. I love this baby. This baby makes this entire episode.
I know. He is, well, she
so,
is. So,
yeah, it is a girl. It is 2 twins, Erica and Melissa Cox. As far as I can see, neither of them ever did anything besides this.
I wonder if it was somebody's kid who worked on the show or something.
Yeah. Yeah, or just some mom who was home with babies and then
just never did
once they got
else.
Older, their kids started crying at every audition, and that was the end of it. Not that we have any personal experience with that. So, yeah, she says, "This is all your fault." And Tony's like, "What? I've never seen this lady before in my life. And the kid has blue eyes."
I know. Like that matters.
So really, she's looking at Mona. And now Mona's very confused. And the lady says, "I'm Mrs. Norman Bevins. And this is my son, Clint Bevins." Mm-hmm. Of course the baby's name is Clint.
Clint. Little Clint.
I've come here to let you know that you've ruined our lives. So Mona's like, "Okay, hang on. Let's start from the beginning." And the lady says "I'm Mrs. Norman Bevins."
But what's fantastic to me is, and you learn more, you learn more of it as this episode goes on, is that these two are made for each other. They're both so strange.
I know. They absolutely
She's so
are.
odd.
Yeah.
I mean, she gets even more odd.
Right.
But I mean, not odd, just like a little like...
Quirky.
Yes, yeah. Quirky. They're kind of made for each other.
Yes, absolutely. So she now says, like, you told Norman to follow his dreams, and he did. He left us. And he ran off.
To pursue his dream.
Right. So Tony's like, "Oh no, did he go to Uganda?" And then she says, "No, Hollywood." And we get a little, like, joke about... Right, which is, that's worse.
Yeah. Wah, wah.
Yeah.
But it's funny. That's, you know what I mean? Like, people can relate to, you know.
Yeah, it's just like Hollywood people making a Hollywood joke.
Right.
Which... So when they come back from the commercial break, though, Mona calls this lady Libby. So I don't know if during the commercial break she finds out what her actual first name is besides Mrs. Norman Bevins, or we just have to assume that Mona knew that Norman's wife's name was Libby.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
That's probably more the reality.
So the baby, though, is so cute, and she's looking back and forth between the lady actress playing her mom, looking at all the lights, looking at Mona, and just is the sweetest little thing. So Mona's like, "I don't understand how he could just fly off to Hollywood," and she says he went standby.
And again, the quirkiness, like,
right,
and not understanding what she's saying,
right, and that she didn't go with him, or Norman wanted her to go with him, but California is no place for them because there's earthquakes, mudslides, and sushi bars. And we had this conversation the other night when we were having sushi about how, like, so this is 1986. I had never had sushi in 1986.
No,
I lived in Florida.
No. Me too.
So I wonder if that really was, like, kind of maybe a very, like, California or big city, maybe New York City. I don't know.
You talking about sushi?
Had sushi bars, yeah.
There's even a joke. I'm not going to remember the name of the movie, but there's a... It's like a... Oh, my gosh. I wish I could remember the name of this movie. It's like a Bruce Lee ripoff. My Name is Bruce is the name of the movie. Mm-hmm. And it's like a comedy. Anyway, before I go on and on, there's a scene where he's talking about sushi. And this movie was in the 80s, like 84. But he's basically saying, "I love sushi," but it's actually mildly racist now I'm thinking about it. But the guy thinks he's saying Susie, which is his girlfriend. And he's like, "Sushi is my favorite." I don't know. Anyway, the fact that they were talking about sushi back then, and I knew as a kid, sushi is like some kind of thing you eat out in California.
Right,
like
okay. Yeah.
I knew it was like some kind of fish, and I didn't know what it was.
Thing,
or like some kind of like Japanese or Chinese, whatever.
Yeah. And
when I was younger.
I mean, well, now we do live in California. But even before we moved here, we still lived in Florida, and we ate sushi all the time because And then I guess that just sushi went everywhere.
Well, I didn't eat sushi until I met you. You
that's
introduced
true.
me to sushi.
Yeah, I got introduced to it like around college by some friends. And now even in my mom and stepfather's very small rural middle of Georgia town, they have a sushi bar. So yes,
it's everywhere.
It's way more mainstream now. But yeah, it's just funny to think that at the time it was like something that you could make a joke like that about California.
It is unnerving eating sushi in a really landlocked.
Well,
like I've gotten when I used to go to Vegas, my buddies always want to go to the sushi restaurant. There's always someone that's like, you know how far we are from the ocean.
They fly fishing.
I know, but it's just it's true. It's like, where is this coming from?
I mean, even the stuff that we eat now, it's not like they go catch it in Malibu and bring it over.
I know. True.
So, okay, what's happening here? Where did I leave off? Okay, yeah.
So he takes the baby and tells her she can have both of her hands to cry.
Right, yeah. And so now we get our first shot of like Tony holding a baby, and it's the cutest thing. And Angela even comes over and sits on the arm of the chair so that she can be near the baby.
Yeah.
It's just that thing where there's like a baby in the room, and then everybody just like gravitates towards the baby, like when one comes into work. Mm-hmm. Except for the past 10 years, I've always been like, oh no, a baby.
I know. No thanks.
Before I had kids, I would have been the first one over there to see the baby.
Yeah, no, you don't care.
But
you know what's so funny, and I pause it at this moment. I noticed it when I watched this earlier. The closed captioning, it's Tony talking to the baby, and the closed caption is Kookety 3 times. Kookity, 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 koo.
But that's what he's doing.
I know,
He's
it's just funny that that's the closed
Yeah.
captioning. Kookity, 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 koo.
So Mona asks Libby if she's spoken to Norman at all since he's left. And she says she has, but it's no use. He's not coming home. And she's worried about all the beautiful starlets throwing themselves at him because she's seen Hollywood Wives.
Oh, yeah. I have a thing about Hollywood
Yeah,
Wives.
you looked that up, right?
Well, yeah, because I had never heard of it. I knew it had to be a show or a movie. It turns out it was a Aaron Spelling miniseries based on a book written by Jackie Collins.
Okay.
Called Hollywood Wives was the name of the book.
I bet my mom watched that.
I bet, yeah, a lot of women in your mother's age watched
Right.
it. Because it was more like... it was similar to like Dynasty, which was also Aaron Spelling.
Right.
So it was that kind of a show. And basically the description is it follows several women connected to the entertainment industry in Hollywood, airing on ABC in February of 1985, which would have been right at the same time as this, right?
This was April of the next year. So yeah.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying like it was hot,
exactly.
already.
Everybody would have known what it was.
Right.
Yeah.
Basically Hollywood, how crazy Hollywood Wives are. So I think that's what she's basing it on. But it was a huge success, apparently.
Yeah, I want to find that. Maybe it's on like YouTube or something.
Oh, yeah, that'd be fun.
I bet that is.
Let's do a podcast about it.
So Mona tells her that she thinks that she should go talk to Norman in person, meaning that she should go to Los Angeles. And Libby is like, oh, that's such a big city. I could never go there. And Angela's like, well, I mean, New York's a big city, and you've been there. And she says no.
No.
So she lives in Connecticut, and she's never been to New York City.
What does that tell you about Libby? and Norman, for that matter.
So now Mona offers Libby something to drink. And she's like, no, I'm fine. I don't like to drink. And Mona's like, well, I just meant like tea or coffee. She says, those are stimulants. How about water? That has too many chemicals.
I know.
And then she asked for a Diet Coke.
That's so ridiculous, which has stimulants and chemicals.
Right. So Mona and Angela go into the kitchen so that they can go get a soda. And I think this is
Let me help you, Mother, because it's hard to get a diet soda.
But this is just to get Tony and Libby and the baby alone so that we can have some more cute baby interactions. And here's another thing I always thought when I watched TV when I was a kid. TV always makes it seem like babies poop every 15 minutes.
I know.
And babies do poop a lot. But anytime there is a baby on screen, it's either going to pee on someone or it's going to throw up on someone or it's going to poop.
Right.
So the baby... Yeah, so Libby's telling Tony that life stinks, and he's like, I don't think it's life, it's this baby. So
right.
he brings baby Clint over to the couch, but he's like, no, I got this. You can call me Mr. Pampers.
Right, like who's volunteering to change
Somebody
and wipe an
else's
ass
baby.
of someone else's baby? I would have walked away.
He has to show that he's going to be up for the challenge of taking care of this baby.
Well, no, I know, but...
Plus, he's just all a gaga over a baby being there. Yeah, so he goes in, he changes the diaper. Now, in the kitchen, Mona's all worried that she's ruined his career and torn his family apart. And she's like, I shouldn't have gotten involved at all. And Angela's trying to help her by saying, well, you care and you're really good at your job. And she's like, no, I'm not good at my job. Maybe I'm not good at anything. Maybe I should go into advertising.
I know. Zing.
Mona is so mean.
I know.
Angela's there trying to make her feel better, and she still manages to cut Angela down. Also, I noticed, why is Mona's brooch, pinned to her shoulder pad?
I know, it is high
It's up so high. And the only thing I was thinking is maybe when they pinned it lower, it was, pulling on her... So then just get rid of the brooch, because it looks really weird.
Maybe they shot...
all the way up on her shoulder pad. Unless
maybe
wearing
that's
a
where you
brooch on
wore
your
it
shoulder
then.
pad was a thing.
That might have been a thing.
I don't know.
The 80s were a weird time.
So Angela's like, if this was my problem, you would know exactly what to do and you would tell me. So she says, well, what would I say? And she said, you would tell me to get out there and go straighten everything up and go get on the plane and go to California and talk to Norman. So Mona's like, oh, I'm pretty brilliant, aren't I? Mm-hmm. Okay. So she says, would I say anything else? And Angela's like, yeah, you'd probably top it off with a joke about my hair. And Mona's tempted, but then she doesn't do it. So they go back out. In the living room, Tony's all, done with little baby Clint. And he hands...
Baby Clint.
I know. So cute. So he wraps it up, and then he wraps up the diaper. And he just hands it to Libby.
I know. Yeah, this is yours.
Yeah, I don't plan on taking this out in my trash later tonight, so...
I don't blame him.
Yeah.
Those things stink.
So now Mona goes back out in the living room, and she's like, Libby, pack your bags. We're getting on a plane. We're going to Hollywood. Mm-hmm. And Libby's all excited that Mona would go with her. She's like, of course I'll go with you. And then Libby's like, well, will you go by yourself? And she's
just
like,
go
no.
get him. I'll stay here.
Yeah. So Libby says, I can't take Clint on the plane. But, babies go on planes all the time.
I know,
this lady
but maybe...
just doesn't. She's so...
Well, they say the plane is the safest way to...
Right, yeah. Mona's like, don't worry,
so it's more of her,
safest.
she's never been in New York, which is 45 minutes, an hour away.
Right.
So, she probably doesn't fly anywhere because she's probably scared.
Yeah. And she says, what if he starts crying and they ask me to step outside?
I know. Again, the quirkiness of Libby and Norman.
Yeah. So Angela says, well, don't you have any other family that could take care of him? And she says, no, her only other family is Norman. And then Angela's like, well, I know someone who's great with children and who's responsible and experienced and mature.
And then cookity coo.
Yeah. Cut to Tony making cooing noises and silly faces at the baby. But again, Angela just offered him up. Oh, sure. My housekeeper can take care of your baby 24 hours a day.
Cleans everything. Right.
While he's still my housekeeper.
It's practically a newborn. Almost probably 1-year-old.
Right. Yeah. I'd say 9 months.
That thing's going to be up every couple hours looking for food.
Looking for food. Just digging through the refrigerator.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Waking up Tony. It's not like he...
Right.
Anyway.
But, of course, Tony makes it look super easy.
Oh, yeah.
So the next day, he's hanging out with Clint. He's holding Clint while he's dusting, and he's talking to him. This baby has not slowed him down at all. Not harried, not stressed out, hasn't changed him 4 times. They're having a great time. And they're playing around, so he then sits down on the couch with them. He's trying to show him how to plump the pillows on the couch, and the baby is just so cute. Just looking around, being adorable. Mm-hmm. So then he sits down on the couch and he starts singing him a little song about... It's that song where, if I give you... What was it? The Mockingbird and the Mockingbird don't sing. Yeah. I'll buy you a diamond ring.
Buy you a diamond ring.
Yeah. And he's like, I hope the Mockingbird sings because I can't afford a diamond ring. So Angela...
And then he explains it to the baby.
Right.
You get it? Because diamond rings too expensive. Like Clint doesn't care and doesn't know what you're saying.
And then we have some toys out. Like, I guess either Libby left some stuff or maybe that's Jonathan's old stuff. But the baby is just so cute. I can't take it.
I know.
So Angela can't take how cute the baby is because she's come home from work early.
Yep.
Tony's like, what are you doing here so early? And she's like, it's almost lunchtime. But Angela never comes home for lunch. So she's obviously just
Maybe
come home.
sometimes she does. We just don't know it.
But it would be like a 45-minute train ride
from the
back.
city. That's a good point.
And then
I'm gonna run home for
45
lunch.
minutes back. Yeah.
But
Maybe
she
even
basically
more
just
than
says, I
that.
can leave because I'm the president.
Right, yeah. So he
there you
knows
go.
that she's come home because she wants to see the baby.
Well, yeah, of course.
And she's excited that Tony found Jonathan's old cradle, and she's reminiscing about when Jonathan was that little. And she asked Tony, like, don't you remember rocking Sam? And Tony's like, yeah, but we couldn't afford a cradle, so we had a laundry basket. And that was great until it was laundry day, and then they had to move her to the dresser drawers.
Boy, that was hard to rock. That's so silly. But I love the fact that she still has Jonathan's bassinet
cradle.
or whatever. Like that's just that's up in the attic
Right.
next to the
Cello.
Yeah.
And her prom dress.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, Jonathan's like 9.
Yeah.
So
we still holding on to that thing for her.
Yeah, I mean, let's move on here. So Angela pulls out a little rubber ducky and she says, look at what I brought for my special boy. And so she like starts squeezing the little rubber ducky in the baby's face.
So you knew she already was coming home to see that kid. She
Right.
got him a ducky.
Got him a ducky. Angela and the baby are so freaking cute. And you can really see that the baby's like
Baby likes
Judith.
her.
Yeah.
There's several moments in this episode where the baby smiles at her.
Yeah, like she gets all the smiles from the baby for sure.
I was tired.
Yeah. So she's all making little noises about the ducky and then saying you have the cutest little eyes and the cutest little nose. And then Tony's like, you're making a fool out of yourself. So Angela gets all annoyed with him and then he starts doing the same thing with the baby. So they're both just having a great time with this little baby. And no one at all is sleep deprived or like, oh my gosh, what do we do with this baby?
Yeah, wow, what have we done? I cannot
had a
believe.
baby in 9 years.
No, it's all nice and easy.
Right.
Little Clint sleeps 9 hours a night.
So now in California, we show what's going on with Mona and Libby. And what's going on...
And how you know is they show this Hollywood, the iconic Hollywood sign.
Oh, yes, of course.
And then some kind of backlot.
Yep.
So you know it's a backlot.
Right. And so Mona and Libby have just managed to walk onto the set
Somehow.
of a television production. Mm-hmm. And so at first I thought, okay, well, maybe Norman worked there. But then you find out that Norman is delivering sandwiches there.
Right. It's not like Norman arranged for them to come onto the lot. They
Right.
just kicked their way on.
Yeah. So Mona's like, okay, don't worry, we're going to get him back, and an actress on the set calls for Norman and says she needs him. So they're like, oh, this must be his big entrance. And he walks in and he's delivering a sandwich to this actress. Now, this actress is named Patricia Hardy. So I looked her up, and at this point, she was already pretty well known. She had been in a TV show called Occasional Wife.
Oh, okay.
In 1966-67. She was the lead of Blondie from 68 to 69. And Herbie the Love Bug, she was on that show as Susan McLean. Mm-hmm. So I feel like she was probably a pretty well-known...
But she wasn't playing herself.
No.
She was just playing another.
Yeah, just an actress. But I feel like people at home probably would have recognized her.
Yeah, right. I see what you're saying.
More than because I don't recognize her now. And then, like, the last thing she worked on was in 2003. But I looked her up, and she is still alive. So she was in 41. She's in her... Oh, next year she'll be 80? Is that right? Yes, she'll be 80 next year.
But probably not working anymore, right?
Not since 2003 that I can see.
Okay. I mean, that means anything, just...
So
So she calls for him.
Yes, and he's delivering her sandwich, and she's annoyed that there's no pickle on it, and that it actually isn't corned beef, it's pastrami.
Yeah,
and
Norman blew it.
Yeah, Norman blew it. So she starts yelling at Norman. And Mona and Libby are like, oh, he's not an actor. He's just a flunky who's getting someone a sandwich. So Mona's like, okay, well, this will be easy then. We'll just grab him and he'll get right back on the plane. So Norman notices Libby is there, and he's like, oh, you're here. And he's kind of excited that she's there, but I think he's hoping that she's come there to stay there.
Right.
She tells him she wants him to come home. And he's like, no, I mean, are you kidding? I've got this great job at a real Hollywood deli. Mm-hmm. And this, that actress just talked to me. She's really a big star. She knows Sally Struthers.
Sally Struthers. That's so funny.
So I forgot to look up Sally Struthers, but what I know her from is All in the Family.
Yeah. And all those commercials they're trying to get you to give money to feed them kids.
Right, yes.
She did that for years. Probably still does it. Yeah.
The only thing I remember her from, though, as an actress is All in the Family, though, right? I mean, she probably did other stuff, but as a kid, that was my only...
That's the only thing I remember her from, for sure.
So Mona's like, listen, Norman, I'm a counselor, and I don't want to get too technical on you, but you're acting like a jerk.
Yeah.
So his wife is saying, if your dream was to work and deliver sandwiches, then why don't you just do that at a deli back home? And he says they don't have a sandwich named after Pernell Roberts.
Pernell Roberts.
Okay, so tell me who that is.
Well, Pernell Roberts was on Bonanza. He's best known for Bonanza. He wasn't a stage actor and television actor, but his big thing was Bonanza. He was on that from 1959 to 1965. He was also on Trapper John M.D. He was on that for about 7 years. Okay. But the interesting, what I found, what's that?
I've never seen Bonanza or Trapper John.
I know, but they were big shows.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
So it says Roberts was also known for his lifelong activism, which included participation in the Selma to Montgomery marches in 1965. Also, he pressured NBC to refrain from hiring whites to portray minority characters and encouraged them to hire minority characters to play minority characters. Yeah, nice. So I thought that was a pretty neat little tidbit about Pernell Roberts. Yeah, which is maybe why he had a sandwich named after him. Yeah.
Nice. That is interesting. I did not know that.
I know. I thought you'd find that interesting.
Yeah. So they're still not, they don't care about this sandwich. They just want him to go home. Or
Pernell Roberts.
Right, or Pernell Roberts. And Norman's like, I'm having a great time here. Like, this woman, he's talking about the actress, he's like, I'm around all these creative people, and the lady's just in the background, like, yelling at everyone. She wants to know where her pickle is. She thinks the script is terrible. She's yelling at the woman who's, like, touching her hair and makeup. So they're just doing, like, a very, cliched, stereotypical view of, like, an actress on a Hollywood set to try to deter Norman. And here is where I kind of get the feeling that, like, where they try, almost as if they were trying to set up a spinoff that, I mean, I don't know. I guess this is just filler so that we can watch Tony and Angela with the baby, but I feel like they're kind of going far with this and, like, building this whole other set and, like, really showing this couple's, journey when nobody really cares about this guy or his wife.
Coming to ABC New Friday nights, Norman Libs. Like, what were they trying to do?
I know. I mean, probably not.
The quirky couple.
Neither of these two actors are very well known, but it's just, this whole episode has a very strange feel outside of the cute stuff with the baby.
Yeah.
So Libby's like, okay, we have to make a decision here. So is Norman going to go home or is he going to stay? And then Mona all of a sudden's on Norman's side. She's
like out of nowhere. After she says he's being a jerk and he's crazy.
She's like, oh, but, Hadley's can get another shoe designer. So this man is going to go from being a shoe designer in Connecticut to now delivering sandwiches in Los Angeles. He's going to take his wife and his baby there. Like, I just feel like maybe Mona should have encouraged him maybe to come up with a plan. Like, let's take a year. Let's give ourselves a year.
And figure things out. Maybe do some of the local theater in
Right,
Connecticut.
yeah. But that wouldn't be a Hollywood ending, which is what Mona is very excited that she has here.
Norman lives.
Now, I mean, I guess we didn't have kids yet, but I was like, we're moving to Los Angeles, let's go. But I did actually have a job first.
Right.
So,
and it wasn't delivering sandwiches.
No, right. It wasn't delivering sandwiches. I mean, and whatever. That's totally great. And for like a young person to move out here and like get in and start meeting people, I just think like this guy already had an established job and he had a family to think about.
Now he's got a family to support.
So he just needed to take a little more strategic plan here. So anyway, it doesn't matter because we just want to see the baby again. Now, they go back to Tony, who's in the kitchen feeding the baby. And he's...
Well, you missed the best part.
Oh, what?
When she says, go for it, and then he asks the wife, Libby, what should I do?
Oh, right.
And then it's the dirtiest thing I've ever heard said on Who's the Boss. And when she says, go give that lady the pickle. That's terrible.
Because he forgot the pickle.
I know, but it's just, go give that lady her pickle. Like, oh, what?
And Mona convinces Libby to stay by saying shoes were meant to be a pair.
Right.
Another cheesy shoe line.
Yeah.
So Libby...
But they've just made a life decision.
I know.
And he's going to get a pickle, and I don't know.
Libby's never been in New York City, and now she's going to move to Los Angeles. Right. So it would have been funny if later on in the series we would have heard some sort of callback to like Norman being on a commercial or something. Mm-hmm. It would have been fantastic because honestly, I think...
Oh, that would have been cool,
I think Norman and Libby probably got divorced about 7.5 months later.
Yeah.
And Libby moved in with her mom.
Okay. And, he shoots porn now. He's a porn director.
He's not in it. You're right. He's shooting it. All right. Sorry. So now we go to the kitchen and Tony's like playing with the baby, feeding the baby. And he's trying to get this baby who has said nothing to this point to say Tony.
Right.
But
he's actually pointing out his toe and his knee.
Right.
To try to get him to say he doesn't know what a toe or a knee is. It's just silly.
And he's like, come on, you can do it. Tony. And then he hears Angela from the living room say, Tony. And he says, see, anybody can do it.
It's funny.
So Angela comes in and again, all cute. She says, hi, baby. And Tony's like, hi yourself, cutie.
Yeah, that's one of my lines.
Yeah, that is such a dad joke.
Yeah. They're funny.
So she says she was talking to Clint and she wants to know if she can feed him because this is the last time before Norman and Libby come to get him because he's moving to California. And he's going to be a little surfer boy.
Yeah, that's it. He has no idea, which maybe it's a good move for Clint.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for Clint. Living a California life.
Yeah, he's going to love it as long as he stays there. Mm-hmm. But why does it look like Angela's feeding him out of a dog bowl?
I don't know.
I don't remember what baby bowls used to look like, but that looks suspiciously like one of Grover's bowls.
Yeah, well, could be.
So Angela's feeding him and like saying all the cutesy stuff of like open your mouth and close your eyes, you'll get a big surprise. And Tony's like, come on with the cutesy stuff. So he starts doing the airplane. And the baby was all about her and not that impressed with the airplane.
No. And then he's doing it's some kind of war plane that is flying in, but it's all of a sudden shooting a machine gun at the baby. Go, 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 go. Like it's probably not appetizing. Like a little scary. I'm going to go back to this lady.
Right.
It's less violent.
Tony says action adventure is in.
Yeah, okay. Well.
Then the baby says nothing, and Tony says, did you hear that? The kid just said Tony. Right. That kid said nothing. Not even a squeak.
No.
So he's like trying to get Angela to
You really never hear this
the baby
at all. I mean, she cries
a little bit here, but yeah.
And this scene is the first time you hear anything.
Yeah, first time she's made a peep. Mm-hmm. I mean, she probably was like one of the best little baby actors they could have gotten.
Yeah,
I know it was her and her sister, so I don't know which one when they switched out or not, but just super cute, looking around, like totally stole this episode, I think.
Yeah.
And just seeing them interact with the baby. So now And the baby starts crying, and Tony's like trying to calm him down. And Angela says, you do everything. You would make a wonderful mother. And Tony says, well, what about you? You came home from the office, spent a couple minutes with the kids, made a mess. You'd make a great father.
That's funny.
So, they say that they kind of miss. She says she misses having a baby around. And he says that it was fun having someone to do his housework with. Again, kind of made it look easy, but, whatever. It's Tony Micelli. So,
and it's a television show.
Right. I know.
It's
TV always made kids look a lot easier than they are.
I know. It's
probably
why we had listen.
Kids right. And as a kid, I never thought, wow, those kids are a lot better behaved than I am. Mm-hmm. But now when you see kids on TV, you're like, wait a minute. How are these people doing all this stuff when they have kids? Like, there's no way. It's totally unrealistic. So he asks Angela, have you ever thought about having another one? And she says, I'd love to. But how?
I know. And Tony looks a little perplexed.
Right. And he's like, I'll tell you later, not in front of the kid. But it's really kind of, so this part is super sweet and then also kind of sad for these characters if you think that, like, if Angela truly ever wanted to have, like, if that was something she wanted was to have more kids, and it seems like Tony wanted to have more kids, but they drug this whole storyline of them getting together for so long, or the characters drug their feet for so long, that they never did have any more children.
Yeah. I kind of thought that was going to be a thing, too. I thought maybe they would have had a child. Yeah, and they could have gone, so how interesting would it have been if they had gone the X-Files route, which I don't know if you remember, but at some point, Scully wants to have a baby, and she asks Mulder to be the donor of her baby, and then a ton of stuff happens after that. Yeah,
but, like, how interesting would it have been if they had gone in that direction, where Angela was like, you know what, I actually do want to have another baby, and this is probably my only chance, so I'm just going to use a donor. We're already raising a family together. Like, why not add another kid to it? Like that. True. I wonder if there had ever been any sort of discussion in the writer's room about that, or if they always just wanted, like, not even having them together, but just, I guess it would make the most sense to have Tony be the donor if he wanted to, and then raise another kid together. Right. And they do kind of do that. So in later seasons, in season 7... they introduce a character named Billy, who Tony kind of adopts. He's like fostering him for a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because you know that thing where sitcoms get stale, and so they're like, let's have another kid. Right? So like at this point, I feel like the sitcom wasn't stale enough. They did it in Family
Ties. They did it in Growing Pains.
Growing Pains. Yep. And at this point, I don't think the sitcom was stale enough to introduce a baby yet. Although maybe that would have made it seem less jumping the shark. But yeah, in season 7, they do add a new kid because the other kids had kind of grown up at that point.
Oh, boy.
But at this point, they're barely doing anything with the 2 kids they have on this show. So it would have been odd to add another one to the mix. And it was odd when they added Billy because I think Alyssa Milano was only on the show part of the time because she was like, Sam was at college, I think. But Danny Pintauro was like, hello, I've been here the whole time, and now this little kid is getting all the storylines, and I'm still not getting storylines. So it did make it difficult, which I bet it made, I'm sure that also was difficult on Growing Pains or Family Ties when they did that as well.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
But yeah, I do think it would have been interesting if Tony and Angela had been able to have another kid together. So then in the tag, they're like packing up all of Clint's stuff and they kind of miss him. And Angela says, well, I guess the next baby around here will be Samantha's. And Tony's like,
right, gets worked up.
Right. And she's like, when she's married and she's older, you'll be a grandfather. But I also like how Angela's just assuming that her housekeeper is still going to live there when he becomes a grandfather.
I know.
But it is, now it is kind of going to be fun.
I think she just means around the house.
Right, yeah.
Like
I guess she just still figures that she'll be in Samantha's life.
But yeah, you're right.
In
that
some
is insinuating
capacity.
that Tony will still live there.
Right. But it is going to be fun when the reboot happens to see like how many kids Sam had. Like I am kind of curious, and I'm also wondering if it'll like be with the husband that she ended the show with. Like it will be kind of fun to see what kids Samantha had. So she says he'll be a grandfather, and they say, it's really quiet here now that Clint's not here anymore, and they hear music.
The Clintster,
yeah. They hear music coming from the living room. So they go back into the living room, and now Jonathan...
So everyone has quietly tiptoed into the living room and then suddenly started blasting music and dancing.
Jonathan and Mona are tangoing. And Samantha says, how can you sell it when someone's out there giving it away?
Yep, that's right.
So again, we have this odd other storyline of Jonathan learning how to tango that really goes nowhere, but it all comes down to the fact that then Angela asks Grandpa if he has a tango in him, and then they dance.
Right. But also it's the only way they can incorporate the kids into the story.
Right, totally. Yeah, they really
the baby was there the whole time.
Right.
So I guess that was the point of the story.
Yes, and like they couldn't really have the kids interacting with the baby because they wanted to save all the time for having Tony and Angela interact with the baby. So yeah, they just needed something for the kids to do, and that's what it was. Yep. But it ends in that cute little dance number, and then Jonathan drops Mona on top of Tony and Angela.
Wacky.
Yeah. And that is the end of the episode.
Yeah, that was it.
So I'll go first with a rating.
Oh, I wanted to go first.
Oh, no, you go first then.
Because I don't know my...
oh, you don't know your... Okay,
no, I mean, I think I do. I think I do. Okay,
you go first with rating.
I gave it a 7.5.
Oh, okay.
Well, yours is more than that, huh?
No, mine's lower.
Really?
But not by much.
Oh, okay. I thought it was good. I thought it had good Tony and Angela moments, good chemistry there. I thought oh my gosh, Norman and Libby parts were kind of bizarre and funny. Right. I didn't understand the story where like Mona's like dealing with them and then going out to. It was kind of a strange element to it, but I know why it happened is because so they could leave the baby with Tony and Angela. I mean, I think they could have probably gone another route, but still. Why Libby wanted to leave her baby with complete strangers is beyond me. But otherwise, it was a cute and funny episode, I thought. And it had its moments. Yeah,
I gave it a 7, so just a little bit lower.
Oh, okay, that's what I figured.
And, most of that 7 is just because Angela and Tony are so cute with the baby.
Yeah.
And I agree. I feel like they were like, okay, we need a situation where Tony and Angela have to take care of a baby. And then they built the story around that. Because the whole Libby and Norman thing does seem really odd, out of left field, but it also incorporated Mona, so that helped also to have something for her to do. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, overall, like anything besides watching them interact with the baby is just kind of like whatever. But that makes up for it so much that I do like this episode.
Yeah. I mean, it had that odd element of like how they ended up with the baby, but otherwise it was good.
Who's the boss around here? Me? Or my mother? Or maybe it's you!
I went with Angela as the boss in this episode, mainly because she kind of told Mona like what she should do to help Norman, and Mona took the advice. Then she offered up Tony. Which
is funny.
Yeah, which I don't know that that's necessarily the right move to do without asking him first. But, so like she came up with the arrangements of what was going to happen with Clint. And then it was cute how she was taking time away from work as much as possible to help out. So I just went with Angela for this one.
Oh, well, good for you. No, I'm just kidding. I actually went with Tony. Only because of how he just kind of took command of the baby. I wouldn't say command, that's probably not but like took control, like, yeah, I'll take care of the baby, I'll do it. But I guess he didn't really like move, move anybody along to do anything or help with Norman or Libby or whatever, except that he watched the baby. But but just the fact that he, it all came back to him how to take care of a child, even though it's not that easy. But, I guess I just went with Tony. I didn't really think about the points you made about Angela, which are good ones.
You think Tony still had to do the drapes that week? Or
I
pick
don't
up the
know.
dry cleaning?
Well, you're not going to be able to vacuum the curtains, that's for sure.
No. I mean, yeah, he wouldn't have really been able to go anywhere unless he had a car seat.
What do you? Yeah, you
Although it was
throw the baby in a
1986.
bassinet. That's true.
Did we use
Yeah,
one?
that's true. I don't know. I remember
at
rolling
that
around in
age,
the
I
back seat
think.
as a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember rolling around in the back seat as a kid in New York, and we moved from New York when I was 5.
Right.
So I was doing whatever I wanted back there.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I hope he didn't have to do some stuff at least. Like maybe that week he didn't have to scrub Angela's toilet or whatever. She
or
gave up a couple
folder
of things.
unmentionables.
Right. So he could focus on taking care of the baby.
That's true. Maybe she laid off.
All right, well, you can reach us at the Who's the Boss Podcast on Instagram. I'm sorry, it's actually at Who's the Boss Podcast on Instagram. I've only said this 30-something times.
That's okay.
Who's the Boss Pod 1 on Twitter. The Who's the Boss Podcast on Facebook. Or you can go to anchor.fm/WTB podcast and you can leave us a voice message. We had a good streak of messages going, and
now nothing.
now nothing. I know people have been busy with the holidays, so maybe in the new year you'll have something you would like to tell us and we'll play it on an episode.
Something you'd like to tell us.
Anything.
Stop doing your
Anything
podcast. No, I'm just kidding.
It's okay. I'll take that voicemail anyway. All right. Well, that's all. So thank you.
All
Good
right.
night. Bye.
Bye.
If you like this podcast, please subscribe and tell all your friends and give you a big pat on the back. Bye. I added some extra.